Poop may not be something that is talked about in most office environments, but here at Thrive, it is not only discussed, but it is celebrated, and we love hearing those wins when kids who have been struggling are able to have success with this issue. My name is Dr. Andrew Rupp. I have the privilege of being a pediatric chiropractor here at ThriveChiropractic. And this video is to give parents more options besides Miralax, besides just the diet changes that maybe haven't worked, if you've got a kid struggling with these issues. You want to be having regular bowel movements. And when I say regular, I truly mean it. I mean every single day is the norm for kids, for adults alike. That doesn't mean, if they miss a day here and there, it's the end of the world. But a kid who is regularly going multiple days between bowel movements, or even worse, parents are told it's normal for their breastfed baby to go up to a week between bowel movements because that's just how breast milk works. It's more efficient. That is not okay. Just this week, I had a mom tell me that. Yes, it is common for babies to be struggling with that, but it is not normal at all. And that's what I want you guys to understand as parents is just because this is a struggle that a lot of people are dealing with does not mean that it's something that is just okay, does not mean that it's something you have to accept and there's no other options to go with it. Most of the parents who show up at Thrive or who reach out for help, they've already done a lot of other stuff, right? Maybe they've made diet changes. They've cut out certain foods. They're dairy-free or they're gluten-free. They've added in more fiber. They've added in more hydration. Maybe they've even gone all the way to taking probiotics, adding in magnesium, or on Miralax, they're on X-Lax, they're on some sort of supportive medications as well. We meet parents all across the spectrum, and we find that even when they've done those things, a lot of times they're still struggling, right? A lot of times there is some other missing piece to it. And don't get me wrong, those changes are great, right? We really encourage the nutritional changes. Well, I should say some of those changes are great. We like some of them more than others, but making diet changes, making sure your kid is eating real food, figuring out if there maybe is a sensitivity or some sort of allergen that is bothering them and minimizing that. Probiotics, magnesium, we love them, we take them, we're all about it. But when there is a kid who is still struggling, sometimes there's a missing piece, right? Sometimes there is something else that's not at play. And honestly, especially when it comes to those medications, they're never addressing the why, right? They're never addressing the actual cause of these issues. Constipation is not caused by a deficiency of Miralax in your kid's body. Maybe it does help manage the symptoms. Maybe it helps hide some of those secondary effects, but it is not getting to the real root of the issue. That's where we got to look a layer deeper and ask different questions. Because the goal is not just to manage the symptoms and make that temporary symptom go away, but it's to get to that underlying root mechanism and underlying cause. The real issue that is at play with so many of these challenges that isn't talked about is the neurologic underlying of these constipation issues, right? Even if a kid has the perfect diet, the perfect nutrition, the perfect supplements in their body, if their nervous system is dysregulated, if it's at this point of stress and dysregulation, they're not able to process it. They're not able to take that food in, and it shifts their body away from what's called the parasympathetic wellness, rest, digestion, relaxation mode into this sympathetic fight or flight state. And that is the stress response, right? Fight or flight mode is if you're running from a bear in the woods and your body's really smart. If it is running from a bear in the woods, that's not a great time to stop and have to go to the bathroom. That's not a great time to focus on your gut health and your digestion. You just need to make it through the minute and survive. That is why we see so many times constipation correlated with other neurologically related struggles, right? Kids with anxiety or autism or behavioral and emotional regulation challenges, sensory processing, so frequently, kids dealing with constipation are also dealing with those and vice versa because it has that same underlying root, that same underlying neurological piece of it. So the answer then is not to just try to focus on managing those symptoms and focus on a different pill and medication and symptomatic focused approach, is to look at that neurological regulation, right? Instead of getting a kid in that survival mode, if we can pump the brakes, if we can get their neurological regulation system back into a state of rest and relaxation and digestion and gut health, now good things start to happen, right? Because that's really what's taking place. It's a slowed down gut system. It's a slowed down digestive process. This movement called peristalsis, this wave-like contraction pushing food through the gut is not happening if your kid is in survival mode. And there's so many things that can be causing that, right? There's maybe the life that they've lived and the bumps and the bruises, learning to walk or falling off the slide or those sort of challenges can lead to this stress and misalignment and subluxation in their nervous system. Maybe it's the birth process, right? So frequently we see that kids who have certain birth tendencies or birth interventions and birth traumas lead to these sort of struggles because it is shifting their system out of that place of balance into survival mode. That's all that this is about. With our pediatric focused chiropractic care, we're able to, one, assess if that's what's going on with the kid, right? That's where the scans and the technology comes in. We are able to look at that objective functioning and see, is this what's going on? Do they have that neurological dysregulation in those key areas? And if they do, what's the game plan, right? What can we do to put together a game plan to get them out of that mode? Gentle and specific adjustments do exactly that. They correct that stress response, get the kid back into a more balanced state. So then, of course, the secondary effect of that is better bowel movements, just like it's better immune system function and more regulated behaviors and less sensory challenges. Because we're not trying to treat or manage the specific symptom, we're just trying to make sure that kid is at their best. Just trying to make sure that that kid is functioning as they are designed to, that they are reaching their full potential. And that's what I would encourage you to flip your perspective on with healthcare. Is not just a symptom-focused approach, not just trying to pick the right medication, pick the right supplement or pill to address it. Let's focus on just increasing that kid's overall wellness. Because a healthy, thriving kid is one that is having regular bowel movements. It's one that has a strong immune system that they can kick the sick and fight stuff off. They're able to regulate emotions. They're able to handle all these other tasks that we ask of them. So I hope that helps, parents. I hope you know that there are options besides medications and maybe the diet stuff that hasn't panned out and worked for you. Please reach out if that is you. We're here to help. We'll answer any questions, walk you through what that scan process looks like. It's a completely non-invasive procedure, right? We're doing these tests just like you'd be taking a snapshot, taking a picture with your phone. There's no extra radiation. There's no extra challenges going into that kid. It's just an assessment to see where they're at and what we can do to help. Can't wait to meet you in the office soon and help your family thrive.